but they failed to convert. And they went 2-0 down in the 78th minute. And Ahly made Pirates pay when Abdul Zahir turned home a low cross from the right to make it 2-0 and kill off the South African chances. This is Al Ahly's 8th CAF Champions League title. Sports Minister Fikile Mbalula slammed Al Ahly fans for the use of lasers during that match. Fans bombarded Pirates players with the green lasers. The Pirates players received a hostile reception during the game. Buccaneers goalkeeper Senzo Mihiwa was one of the main targets. In the FIFA safety regulations, it states that in the stadium, fans are not allowed to possess any weapons or dangerous objects, including racist or aggressive banners and lasers. FIFA have yet to comment on the behavior of the fans during the match. We're now joined by Neal Collins, who's a football analyst and columnist for the New Age newspaper. Neal, we'll start on the pitch. Obviously, huge disappointment for Pirates. Some saying that they could have, that they were beaten as a better team. What are your comments?
Absolutely. There's people saying this morning that they were outplayed. That simply isn't the case. Orlando Pirates had the best chance of the first half. Tlusekelela, far post header, lovely cross from Dane Clay, put it just wide. Tlusekelela isn't a great header of the ball. It's his legs that do all his talking for him. Unfortunately, that chance was missed. At 1-0 down, and again at 2-0, Lennox Betsela had a couple of chances. But just as Roger brought Collins and Basuma on to push for that goal, because he had to get a second half goal on the away goals, or he had to anyway, just as he brought Basuma on, and I thought, here we go. They scored their second goal. And Mohamed Abatrika, lest anyone forget, 35 now, has won more stars than most people have galaxies. He has got an unbelievable track record in scoring in pressure games, scored in both legs. You can't take anything away from Al Ahly, but I thought Orlando Pirates did very, very well.
Yeah.
And we're fairly unlucky.
And obviously Al Ahly, 8-time champions, have been there and they've done it before. It's surprising though that Egypt haven't done well on a World Cup stage.
Yeah, I know that's the African way, isn't it? We need someone like Egypt, Ghana. Obviously, Egypt can't go into the next one because Ghana just beat them 6-1 in the playoffs. Egypt's in a mess. Football-wise, what we have to remember is that what Al Ahly did last night, and Al Ahly, a very political club, the Al Ahly Ultras are very much involved in the Morsai stuff at the moment. We have to remember that Egypt are in a bad way, but they've won 7 AFCONs. They've now won, I think it's about 12 altogether, 12 stars with Al Ahly and Zamalek. It's a great football nation. What we did so well, what South Africa can pat themselves on the back for, is getting Orlando Pirates to that final, surviving TP Mazembe. Remember that one, where we all sat there, we couldn't even see it. Lucky Lekwati sent off 2 penalties. And you're watching Senzo Mihiwa there, who saved those 2 penalties in TP Mazembe. That was a miracle. And to get through that group, the 2 Egyptian sides and the Congo champions, Leopards, brilliant, magnificent.
Well, let's just go into that. I mean, travelling in Africa playing football is something that many people, many South Africans don't understand.
Absolutely. I spoke to Jerry Sikazada at the first leg, spoke to Mark Fish during the week, had a long chat with him. It's an absolute nightmare. And whether you like it or not, northern countries love coming down to South Africa because they feel like they're coming to Europe, if you want. I know that's controversial. But for us to go up north sometimes, we deliberately get treated like the rich uncle that's come round. We get put on bad training grounds, we get put in noisy hotels. I mean, I wanted to lead a delegation to play vuvuzelas outside the Al Ahly hotel when they were in Orlando, but it just doesn't happen in South Africa. If you look at the passion, there was no way there were 30,000 in that ground last night. Even the journalists had nowhere to sit. This is a 60,000 crowd. Okay, it was supposed to be 30,000 because of all the trouble they've had, 75 people dying in football in the last year or 18 months in Egypt. This was the night that Egypt were living for. With all the trouble going on over Morsai at the moment, their football league's basically been suspended on and off for weeks. This is the first time the Al Ahly fans have had the chance to actually get there and not travel down to Alguna where they played the other game against Pirates. This was in their city. This was what they wanted. This was their 8th star. This is finally, after losing 6-1 to Ghana, Egyptian football's chance to regain something on the pitch. And we have to remember that Orlando Pirates were facing unbelievable odds to go there and get a result.
Let's chat briefly about the laser issue. It is banned in Europe. And there was certainly no signs of them hiding it there. I mean, it was quite evident.
Okay, from personal experience, in England, if you're at the Emirates, if you're at Upton Park, and you see someone shining a laser like that, it wouldn't be the stewards that would grab them, it would be you. Because over the last 4 or 5 years, started about 2007, I think, these red laser lights and these green laser lights came in. We were told they damaged the eyes of the players, and there's some backup to that today. The National Association for the Blind saying it can actually affect players' eyes. I don't think it was, we can't use it as an excuse today, but the fact that Fikile Mbalula and Roger Desai have both spoken about it means that it had impact. And us, all of us watching on the telly last night, you can see that what's going on there is wrong. And how, after the Esperance semi-final and the other games in Egypt, no one at CAF or FIFA decided, well, let's clamp down on this. Let's search as you go in the ground, which is what they do in Europe. Let's get the stewards to pull people out. If you see, they can't do this, they're like that. And I've seen people do it. They do it to aircraft in England. As the aircraft come in, people shine it in the lights of the pilots. It's a despicable act in terms of football fans.
Are you surprised FIFA have said nothing?
Yes, very surprised. Now, just before I came on, I robbed your computer and I had a quick look on the internet. Couldn't find anything from FIFA or CAF to say that was a disgrace. But luckily for Fikile Mbalula, as he always does, hit the nail on the head. It was wrong. And Roger said as well, it was the only thing that bugged him last night. And what was essentially a great night for African football, because it went off without any trouble. It was a good game. I enjoyed it. You had to watch Arsenal, Man United or Pirates Ahly. I thought Pirates Ahly was a good game. I thought South Africa can be proud of that game, and South Africans, with Kaiser Chiefs going into it next year now on their own, not the two clubs, Kaiser Chiefs now have to look at that and say, can we match Orlando Pirates next year?
Looking at Pirates, what do you think they can take out of this? This was quite a heavy defeat for them. I mean, considering, they got into the final, they got that far. Yeah. They're obviously heavily behind schedule-wise in the league. They've now got to go forth and it's just back to back to back to back.
Well, immediately the game finished last night, there was someone on a mad radio station saying that Roger Desai should be kicked out. The same as there was on Saturday night when Stuart Baxter only put Majoro on late and Chiefs beat Wits. I think what I've seen from Orlando Pirates, especially early in the last Soweto derby, they're much better with the passing game. They're much better with the short game. Like European players, they jealously possess the ball. Okay, they're not going to give it away. When you're playing in the Congo, when you're playing in the DRC, don't give the ball away, mate. The referee's probably going to be on their side. Well, I thought the ref last night was brilliant. So I think they've learnt a lot. They've got 5 games in hand, 7 games in hand. If they win that game, top of the league by 5 points. If they win all those games in hand, they're 5 points clear Sundown. I think they'll pick up quite a lot of points. They'll be in the top 2 by the time they catch up. And I think we'll see a big change in the way Orlando Pirates play. And they learnt that in Africa.
Great, Neil. Thanks very much.